All righty. Welcome, everyone, to our webinar today for Plastiq short-term financing, fueling your business's growth. My name is Eric, and I lead new business acquisition here at Plastiq on our Plastiq Pay side. Joining me as well today is Jason, Director of Product at Plastiq, as well as Alice, who is the Chief Product Officer over at Slope. Awesome. And so to set out a quick agenda for our call today, we'll be going over short-term financing and its impact on business growth. We'll then lead into a demo of our short-term financing product led by Jason himself. And we'll finish it off with a discussion as well as an open Q&A for all the folks here. Perfect. So to go ahead and kick off our webinar today, we do have a quick poll here that we want to go ahead and present. You should see a pop-up coming up on your screen here with a multiple choice. And the question here is, what are the challenges your business has faced with working capital? Right, and we'll give everyone here just about 30 seconds here to get your responses in.
All right, looks like we have hit about most of our responses, and I'll share the results.
Awesome. So looking at the results here, see that there's the two major themes here is the access to it in a timely manner, as well as getting access to a lender. And this is really what we hope to show to all of you today during our webinar. Perfect. Well, I'd like to go ahead and pass it over to Jason here to go ahead and talk about short-term financing and its impact on business growth. And we'll have Alice go ahead and talk about as well right after Jason.
Great. Thanks, Eric. And hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. It's awesome to have you all here. So today I'm going to start off by talking about managing working capital. And when we look at capital and we look at small businesses, it would be fair to say that working capital is ultimately your oxygen. Whether it's standard ops or, looking at weathering storms, it's important that there's a good, healthy line of working capital to keep your business above the waterline. But it's not really a zero-sum game. It seems like it, but would like to look at it a little more deeply. And it's not just sink or swim. Economic questions, challenges that are in the market day after day, they make it easy to fit and stay in the space. But ultimately, beating those odds means keeping an eye beyond and looking at the horizon. And while that market is important, one of the things a growing business really does is look to not just sink or swim, but also float on that water, or even more, fly above it into the sky. And managing working capital is really an opportunity to do that. It's an opportunity to play offense. And this comes not just in the form of working capital to pay current expenses or work around just your immediate needs, but it comes into seizing opportunities. It might be finding that supplier, that liquidation event that might be occurring, or some other scenario like a sale on sprockets to make your widgets, that you're ultimately going out there and finding the opportunity to preload inventory, preload parts, getting ahead of making things and getting things together. Additionally, it might be jumping on a timely moment, and that timely moment for like advertising when the market seems to be quiet and seizing different opportunities to acquire new customers. Things like that. It's when can, the panther proverbially pounce and jump out there. And so for a small business, it comes to drive that forward. Additionally, it's also an opportunity to look at how you can shrink the time between gathering inventory and selling it, driving down your cash conversion cycle. You may have seen our playbook that we published on this not too long ago. But really thinking about this a little more, can you lower this measure and can you drive it negative?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. The sound just went off.
Oh,
2 minutes ago.
I'm sorry, is anybody else having problems hearing me?
No, I heard you perfectly fine.
No, we can hear everything.
I can hear you as well.
Okay, thanks all. It might be a network issue, I guess, I'm sorry. And yes, the recording will be available later. So if anything does happen from a recording standpoint, we'll make sure this is covered. But jumping back into it and looking at the cash conversion cycle, how can you lower this measure? How can you make it negative? When you look into the market and you look at some of the big folks in the market like Amazon, Amazon has a negative cash conversion cycle. They're going at negative 20 some days. Um, it might feel daunting as a small business to think about comparing yourself and driving alongside Amazon. But that's really one of the keys in this space. You don't need to be Amazon to think like them and to act like them. And, leveraging your debt ultimately is an opportunity. It's a way you can take advantage of timing and cost. At Plastiq, you're probably familiar with how we've approached leveraging debt in the past. We've supported cash flow via our credit card product and credit card payments. But today we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to add to that tool belt short-term financing. And I'm going to pass it over to Alice, who's going to talk about the financing market.
Great, thank you. As Jason mentioned, financing is so important to growing a business, but difficult to access in many ways. I wanted to address some of the challenges of traditional working capital solutions. They're incredibly cumbersome, inflexible, sometimes even predatory. Traditional solutions, include going to your bank, trying to, access a small business loan, old school inventory financing, or revenue-based financing. We've chatted with many users that have mentioned that even with an existing line with a bank, they still needed to fill out 50 pages of docs. They waited 2 months or more just to increase their line by 30K. It really felt like a black hole, and I'm sure a lot of you guys relate. They would randomly get asked for follow-up paperwork. They didn't understand exactly what they needed or when they would get an answer. Many of these solutions also give a lump sum, which is hard to organize at a company level. It's hard to predict, right, when a slower month is coming, which means that you still need to pay for the line, or when a shipping delay happens, where you need that extra flexibility for that specific order. With revenue-based financing, which is another solution, it's actually a bit counterintuitive for e-commerce businesses, because the faster you grow, the more you have to pay back. Many, SMBs that we chatted with, they're kind of scared about using financing because they're so tired of all these predatory solutions that email and call them at every turn. I'm sure a lot of you have gotten a lot of these messages, and these solutions are, they have hidden and sometimes compounding fees, undrawn fees, facility fees, and they're not actually incentivized to help you grow in the long term. So with the Plastiq Slope short-term financing solution, we wanted to really focus on providing a seamless user experience, immediate decisions. You get pre-qualified in seconds, immediate access, and a workflow to help with future limit increases. Our biggest focus is providing the flexibility. You have access to the full limit, but you can customize the right terms per order. So you'll be able to manage it by a vendor order level, which makes it easy to plan. You can pay an ACH or card and choose what terms make sense per order. I think transparency and trust are the core parts of our values. We're really here to help you grow. It's a long-term game. And our fees and payment schedules are upfront. They're in our user interface. We have automated communications and reminders and focus on providing a world-class customer support experience. So we're in constant contact. Definitely say goodbye to your old school banks and definitely check us out. Back to you, Jason.
Cool. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, so as Alice started, we're really looking at putting the short-term financing tool in your tool belt. We're really driving forward the embedded solution of Plastiq and Slope, and the whole goal is to make it easier and more flexible, as Alice noted. And really, it's simple to get going, and I'll demo that in a few moments. Ultimately, what you do is you go to the wallet in Plastiq, or you go while you're making a payment. You can choose to add a new payment method, and in doing so, you can select to choose short-term financing as your payment method. Once you do that, you're presented with a screen. That screen requires that you add some minimal business information. And one of the key factors in this is that your EIN is required as part of this entry. Right now, this is available to businesses with an EIN only. And then once that is submitted, you'll be presented with a form from Slope. That form lets you link your bank accounts and enter a quick revenue estimate, as well as some basic owner information on the business. And once you've done those things, in moments, you'll actually get a response. You will find out before you close that modal window if you are eligible for financing and how much you are eligible for. So the limits that Alice noted are right up front, right available, and really clear on how to use. Couple of the key things on this is that installment or net terms can be used for payback. You can choose those right terms that are flexible for your business, and you can extend your payback by up to 90 days. So if you have an invoice that's due now, and that invoice has, say, a 2% discount to pay early, you can get that 2% discount from your supplier without actually paying that invoice yourself until another time period later when it's the right time for your business. And you can pay back with both ACH and credit card. The latter being a bit of a unique aspect here. And so when using a card for payback, you can actually stack two sets of terms potentially and look at both the 90 days and your credit card float as part of that payback time frame. So this is really taking financing and putting it into your hands, into how you plan to wield it. You can pay any vendor on Plastiq as long as they're in USD at the moment. And when you pay those vendors, you can choose how they receive funds via ACH, via check, via wire. When you use wire, which I'll show in the example, the additional Plastiq wire cost is included in the principal. So the $5 for doing that wire. However, otherwise, the costs are really upfront and straightforward. There's no additional Plastiq cost for making this payment. So all the funds are really in those financing costs and are upfront. No surprises. And ultimately, your vendors, they receive the payment you want them to receive. You choose how you pay them. And short-term financing becomes another way that you can leverage Plastiq to get in front of that cash conversion cycle and seize opportunities. And with these transparent rates and fees and additionally no guarantees, Slope provides really an easy to use credit line that you can jump on and a flexible way for you to pay your vendors. And I'm going to dive into how that works. So I'll start by logging into Plastiq. Here, let me just move my attendee screen. So, all right. So here I'll start by logging in. And as I'm a bit of a security nut, for this account, I've disabled two-factor authentication. Definitely recommend it's on, but for the purposes of demos, just going to go faster and not wait for a text message. However, once I'm in here, using financing, as I mentioned, is pretty easy. So once I log in, I'm on the Plastiq payment screen. I can go through making a payment and do this from there, or I can dive into the wallet and start here. Once I'm in the wallet, if I have a financing account, it'll be shown here. You'll see a Slope card over here. Otherwise, I can click the Apply Now button, or I can click the button up here and choose to add an account. And once I'm in here, you'll see short-term financing. Click on that little item and click Continue. As I noted, when you come in here and you apply for a Slope account, you'll see the information about how this works. And so basically, as noted, there are terms from 30 to 90 days available, different net and installment schedules. And then the current rates are competitive at 2.8 to 8% And this depends on the term chosen, the way it's paid back, and the payment method of that payback. So you'll see that when we actually take a loan in the demo. These options are all pretty flexible as far as what you choose. And the initial lines are running generally from 5 to 100,000 in availability, although accounts can continually be reviewed and supported through Slopes portal. So as I come in here, I see that my business widgets of webinar is all pretty much entered in from an information perspective. The only thing that's not is my EIN. And I'll add that in now. And check my eligibility. As I click this, there are two things that are going to happen. As a customer, you're going to be set up in Slope system. And we, on the Plastiq side, will share with Slope this information, as well as your Plastiq payment history. So your bank history as well as your Plastiq history both apply when looking at your financing eligibility. So as I click check eligibility, you can see the Slope widget appear. And this is really a continuation of everything we've talked about to this point. As mentioned before, doing this as a quick revenue estimate, banking history through account linkage, and owner information. And we'll get started. So I'm going to enter in a quick annual revenue estimate, and I'm going to link my bank account. Now, from an account linkage perspective, this is done through Plaid. If you've used Plastiq to add a bank account, you'll be familiar with this workflow. In this case, we're linking to Slope, and Plaid wants to have your permission granted to Slope to look at this. So even if you have linked this account in Plastiq before, you're going to need to do this one other time in the Slope flow. And that's just to make sure that linkage is together. So I'm going to jump in. In this case, I'll choose bank. So I'm doing this in a demo account, and you're going to see a bank account that has much more money than my bank account generally has in it, but it makes it good for demoing. So I'll choose my high balance checking. Select that. Here's where I'll grant permission to Slope. This grants Slope access to this account, so Slope can review your money in and money out and your business details over your banking history. I'll click allow here. And you'll see that that account is linked and added here. Now, not all businesses do their business in one bank account. You can add more than one account if you need to. And so you can just click add bank account and continue to do this process to link those up with Plaid and Slope. But let's say it's only this one for now. I'll click continue, and I'll add in some basic owner information for I wish I was born in 1986. So I'll take it for now, but otherwise, I'll add in the last four of my social, and we'll hit continue. And this is where the magic happens. Oh, I think I may have clicked the wrong button, so apologies, folks. All right. Good news is when I've used this form, everything that I previously entered remains here from an account linkage perspective. So it's pretty quick to get going. And that's useful, actually. So let's say you don't have your revenue estimate at that time, or you forgot a set of account credentials. Anything you did link is previously there, and then you can come back in and add those items later. All right, I just made myself younger. And this is in our test environment. So this will work here, but this is where the magic happens. So as I was saying, Slope is checking your financials. Alice, I don't know if you want to say anything during this part.
Yeah, basically, we look at kind of business, health, payment history, successful payment history, business growth, and the more accounts and giving us a more comprehensive view of your, bank accounts allows us to give, the maximum limits that we can for you.
Okay. And in this case, it's a test environment, so the limits are fairly low on this account. Again, as Alice noted, your limits are going to be based on your business health and your transaction history. So once those get put together, it'll be tailored specifically for you in that case. But in this case, the great news is I'm pre-qualified. I'll click the complete button. Once I do that, we see this acknowledged over on the Plastiq side. And if I come over here to my financing tab, we'll see that a Slope card has been added to my financing. And now is the fun part. This is where we get to use it and buy something or pay for something. So in this case, we'll come over here, add to make a payment. And I'll send a payment over to Beautiful Packaging. We'll see in this case that this is a payment that's eligible for financing based on the vendor details that you've entered. Click continue. Once we pop in here, let's say I have an invoice for $342. And then it's as easy as coming in and choosing Slope as your payment method. Once I do that, pop in my invoice number and click view terms. And so this is going to ping Slope and pop up a widget for actually taking this individual loan. So when I do that, this is where I see the different terms available to me. And as noted, it starts with the net 30, follows into an installment plan all the way up to net 90. Popularity wise, the things that we're seeing the most popular in our test audience has been either the net 90 or 4 installments for 90 days. And that's because we're finding our customers are valuing flexibility. And in that flexibility, one of the things that I do want to call out is it's possible to repay these loans early and have prorated interest as a result. So the cost of the loan is going to be cut down if you pay that early. This is not a single one and done fee. It's prorated over when it's actually paid back. And so, it's even more flexibility for what's right for your business. In this case, I'll choose a net 90. As I noted before, you can see up here it's 347. My invoice was 342, but this recipient is a wire recipient. And because they're a wire recipient, that additional $5 is added for the wire fee into the principal. I'll click continue, and I can choose how I pay it back. And a little more view into that, we'll see that for paying back with a bank account, the rate is here, as well as paying back with a credit card, the rate is there, and those rates differ. But I'll choose bank account in this case. And as I do that, the convenient thing here is now that you've entered your accounts will appear here, and you don't have to enter them again when using Slope. I can, however, add another bank account if I would like to make this payment. So you're not limited just with the accounts you put in at sign up. You can actually flexibly add more bank accounts or credit cards to do your payback. Choose continue. And I'm presented with the full repayment terms detail. Click continue again. And I'm presented with the loan terms. Now, if you want to read this in a larger format, you can download the terms as a PDF here. Otherwise, I'll scroll through quickly and click I accept. And long story short, you are now queued up to take financing from Slope for this payment. But there's a couple more steps you need to actually process this payment. So once this is done here, this is reserved capital and reserved your loan with Slope. Now it's not taken yet until you complete your Plastiq payment. So if you decide to not take this loan or decide that you want to come back and make a different decision or a decision later, you can do that. And you're not tied into taking this loan at this point. However, what that means is each time you actually do come back, you will go through this workflow. And that's important because Slope wants to make sure that your balance, if you're doing two payments at the same time, your balance on your line is affected in the right spot and at the right levels to be able to take this loan. So really no surprises in that, but just making sure that things are going in the right path. So I'm going to click go back to Plastiq. I'll click continue. And at this point, all payments that are done with financing are immediately issued. So let me add an invoice. And we'll see some confirmation. And that it's a finance payment. And click submit. And that's it. One less bill to worry about, paid for with Slope through Plastiq. So I'm going to hand things back off to Alice from this demo, and she'll talk about some actual use cases.
Thanks, Jason.
Very good.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason, for sharing that demo.
Sorry, there we go.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to walk through an example of how flexible the Slope and Plastiq partnership is. So Jason went through kind of that demo on the Plastiq side, but after you kind of take out a loan using Slope, you get access to a buyer portal. So this is a real screenshot of an example user's buyer portal, where you can see all your orders that have gone through Slope, your total limit, upcoming schedule of payments, and previous payments that you've made. So here you can see the business customer has qualified for a 250K line with us. And as they use Slope for POs or any order, the line is being used up. And as the orders are being paid off based on whatever schedule you've chosen, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or installments, the capital frees back up, enabling you to continue to grow your business flexibly. You can get access to the capital, but you have the flexibility to use it when you need it. So for example, a busier month, you can maximize the line, but during a slower month, you don't have to use it at all. We also support early repayment, as Jason has mentioned, which you can access here, as you can see. This is where you can pay off an order early. So for example, let's say if cash frees up earlier than expected and you want to pay off this order early, you can, and your fees are prorated, and you'll only pay for the time that you're using Slope. And this means that your limit frees up as well for additional orders once you early repay. You can also change your payment method anytime before the scheduled charge. So switching from ACH to credit card and vice versa. We really, really wanted to showcase that flexibility. Back to you, Jason.
All right, great. Thank you, Alice. So now we're going to jump into a brief discussion. I have a couple questions for Alex and Eric that I'm going to ask, and then we'll wrap things up and move on to your questions. So let's start off, Alice, with a question to you. The first question I want to ask is, can you talk about Slope's approach to financing and how it's different than other providers?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, our vision is to give access to capital to those that should have it in the most seamless experience possible. Financing can be daunting, but it's so important to business growth that we really wanted to close that gap. Instead of going to a bank, filling out all these forms, waiting months to get an answer, We use machine learning and data science behind the scenes to, give you access to the capital and credit that you're approved for immediately. I would say there's three main things that we care about that makes us different. The first is seamless and really easy to use and fast user experience. We wanted the experience to be as intuitive as if you were a consumer just doing online shopping with immediate decisions and access. The second thing is flexibility. This is probably the biggest so far. Pay in whatever method you want, whatever terms you want, and early repay, if you want. There's supply chain issues. SMBs go through so many bumps, and it's already so hard to be a business owner. We want to give you as much flexibility as possible. And the third is transparency. I think, trust from our users is our number one policy. We want you to be aware of what you're paying, what the payment schedule is. There's no hidden fees or like UCC lien filings. Again, like if your business is successful, we're successful, and we're looking forward to growing together in the very, very long term. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Alice. And additionally, what's some of the early feedback that you've received?
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about it. We've had the honor of servicing some amazing SMBs that really use the Plastiq and Slope partnership to grow their business. Some of them might be on this call today. I think I see a few. Hello. The feedback has been incredible. Let me walk through a few heartwarming examples. So the first one, with e-commerce especially, there's a large amount of inventory that has to be moved constantly. We've helped a business double their revenue by allowing him to take advantage of better wholesale opportunities, especially as he's stocking up for the holidays. So, with, this financing, he can purchase at wholesale prices. And especially, right now, as everyone's preparing for the December madness, it's really, really, really flexible for him. We had another business. She uses us for her baby supply business, where she actually deals with many insurance reimbursements. So the extended cash flow allows her to keep purchasing while waiting for the reimbursements. And she's so awesome. She sends us a lot of soda that she also gets at wholesale. And we have an amazing relationship. A third user, he's about to double his use of the Slope Plastiq solution from 500K moving through us to more than 1 million, because he appreciates our customer support, immediate access to orders and the status, the ability to early repay, which allows him to use his line to the most flexibility. I think the list goes on, but we'd love to support your business as well, and we're here for you. Thanks for asking that question, Jason.
Thanks, Alice. Yeah, I can definitely say what we've heard on the Plastiq side in our limited availability is that it's just really flexible and easy to choose and use and pay as necessary to fit a business's mold. It's been really exciting what we've seen, and we're really looking forward as we expand this offering to a broader audience. Eric, your team, as you mentioned, manages Plastiq's largest customers. Can you talk a bit about those accounts and their approach to cash flow? Additionally, how short-term financing has also supported them?
Of course, definitely, Jason, and thank you. And Alice, thank you for those great use case stories. I think I may even be able to think about some of the clients that you're talking about here that we've worked together on. So really for our businesses here at Plastiq, they really see cash flow as the essential health of their business. And when a lot of clients have come to Plastiq now or in the past, they've really been using their credit cards as that way to extend their cash flow, allowing them to get 30 days, 60 days, depending on what their card offers. And by working with Slope here, we've allowed customers to open that up even more outside of the traditional 30-day financing to get 60 days, 90 days, and choose the terms that they really want to use. And this is especially beneficial in a time like this for some of our biggest e-commerce clients using Slope and Plastiq in conjunction to extend the cash they have on hand and ramp up for those upcoming holidays, the big shopping days that we have like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And especially with the current economic conditions, this is allowing our clients to take advantage of things like larger orders, getting the prices down when something like margins is especially sensitive at a time like this. And so really what this has allowed us to do is to offer a solution to our clients in addition to the things that they're already using. Some of the things that they're using, like their credit cards or paying out of their bank account, and they're able to use these in conjunction with their line from Slope to extend those terms even further, allow them to take advantage of additional financing when something like their credit card may not have the limit available at this time.
Great, thank you, Eric. Yeah, I think, hammering on that flexibility is really key. That's one of the big pieces of one of the messages we really want to get across in this conversation. Additionally, how that flexibility improves your ability to convert sales, convert inventory into money, and tie that to better outcomes for your business. It's just really it's really exciting from that perspective, to add another tool to the Plastiq toolbox to support that. And as Eric noted, some of the ways these businesses that we've started working with have really approached this is to do exactly that. And so I'm going to do a quick wrap up and then we'll move on to your questions. I just want to really note that I'm so glad that you could come and we could talk about short-term financing with you today. Really happy to see so many questions popping in the chat, and we'll hit those. But I do want to hit on one item before we get there, and that's that short-term financing is now available in Plastiq. So if you are ready to go and ready to do this, you can log into your Plastiq account today, look in your wallet and see the option and move forward. Again, thank you, and we'll jump right into your questions. If you do want to submit a question, please throw it right into the chat. You can either send it to all of the hosts or everyone that you can in the meeting. I will take a look at it and I will moderate these. So we'll start off with a couple questions that have been popping in around the costs. And so we hit on that briefly earlier, but just to talk about how the costs will work out in short-term financing, all the costs are really upfront and visible for each time you take a particular loan. With each loan, your terms are specific to the time frame of your loan and how you're going to pay it back, with whether that's ACH or credit card. And those range from 2.8% for net 30 ACH to 8% at net 90 with a credit card. And so really everything between those numbers based on the time frame and the payback method. Alice, anything to add there? Or do you feel like that covers it?
Yeah, it's in the user interface. I think Plastiq is going to share it also on their platform in a place. And I also noticed, people can only DM, I guess, us as hosts.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess they can't DM everyone. So sorry for the confusion.
Okay, thanks. And so as we move forward, actually, Alice, I think this is probably a good question for you. If a bank is old school and not compatible, what are some of the things we can do here?
Yeah, so we have a separate, that definitely happens. Hopefully I want to avoid that. And as things modernize, hopefully that changes. But in the meantime, we do have a more manual workflow where you can, send talk to us at support@slope.so, and we can kind of figure out, you send those statements, financial statements manually, whether it's tax returns, financial statements, and we'll tell you exactly what you need to send. And our SLA for that is 1 day. So we'll get back to you very quickly.
Yes, thank you, Allison. And in addition to that, if you do have an account manager or an account executive that you're working with here at Plastiq, definitely reach out to your contact here and we'll be happy to assist you. Or you can reach out to our customer support team here at Plastiq and they'll be able to get you in contact with Slope to help you get those bank statements over to them.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And Alice, can you talk a bit about the approval process and how that works? Are there specific parameters that can help? What if someone has negative days in their account? Is there any feedback you can give there?
Yeah, definitely. So, there's definitely multiple factors that we utilize in underwriting. It's really definitely case by case, depending your type of business, your business history, all those things. I would say, a big factor to it's giving us as much comprehensive data. So whether it's linking multiple bank accounts that really give us a comprehensive view of your business health, or you can go through our manual workflow to give us additional tax returns. Mainly, we care about your business health. How much is cash going in and out, margins, successful payment history with Plastiq, all these different things. So it really does depend, but as long as there's a lot of comprehensive data, we do try to really give a limit that fits your business needs.
Okay, thank you. And what about on the credit score side? Are there what are the pulls required?
So yeah, we only ask for the last 4 digits of SSN for identity purposes, not for credit pull purposes. So your personal credit pull we would never do. We don't do any UCC lien filings. I believe there is as a business there is a credit check there, but it's not a hard pull, I believe. And so for all those reasons, I think we're probably the most seamless and easy to use experience solution out there.
Great, thank you. And then as far as once approved, where your line is immediately available to use. And I don't believe there's an end date on that. I believe that Slope does plan to check your account flow periodically and will communicate any changes to you there. But there's no end date as far as eligibility, right, Alice?
Yeah, definitely. So yes, as your business grows, with the help of Slope and Plastiq, we periodically reassess, and your limits might increase with more successful payment history, more business growth, and we want to be part of that journey.
Great. And then just to clarify, there is only a Slope fee for the payment itself. There's not a Plastiq fee unless it's a wire payment, in which there's an additional charge for the wire. But I think many of you may be familiar with the 2.85% fee for credit card on Plastiq. That's not involved in this. Ultimately, all fees are specifically through the financing payment method. And then let's see. So Gina, actually, I'm noticing a question. Is there a way to apply before making a purchase? Yes. So you don't need a history with Plastiq to apply for a Slope account. So if you're new to Plastiq, want to come in and apply, you can definitely do that. Key to doing that will be specifying your revenue and providing that linkage that Alice was noting. Enough evidence of your account and your prior history outside of Plastiq and your business will be important in that side of the workflow. But you don't need to be a Plastiq user initially to get access to short-term financing. It's immediately available.
Awesome. Someone asked me directly, will there be an opportunity for longer term financing, like 6+ months? Currently, we are up to 90 days, but it is something that we are exploring. And so, definitely there could be an opportunity in the future.
Yeah. And one thing to note too, with the ability to pay back your Slope line with a credit card, this can allow you to even extend it further beyond those traditional 90 days. We have seen clients in cases where they may have a card that offers something like 60-day terms, able to get up to 150 days of financing.
Great. And then, Alice, do we have anything as far as minimums for bank revenue required, or it's really that money in, money out sort of assessment?
Yeah, I think it really is case by case. So don't want to set, exact minimums, but we try to serve. I think the point of what we're doing is we really try to serve businesses in all aspects of stages.
Thanks, Alice. Yeah, and I do want to reiterate the same thing. In my working with Slope, one of the things that I can say wholeheartedly is you care about really the democratization of lending. It's not actually about going into the bank and hoping you can work with a lender. This is here for you. This is for you to try, and it's quick and easy to give it a shot. I think that's one of the best feelings that can come out of this, is that as a business, your opportunity here is ultimately available, and that's not a question. So that's one of the important things that I would say about this. This is a chance, when sometimes traditional lenders don't give you one. Great. I think that may have hit most of the questions. And Alice, as far as making decisions, are those decisions generally based off, those would be based off only business bank accounts, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right, great. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I know we're at 11:45 Pacific, and I really appreciate you sticking around for the questions and all of this information today. We will be posting this webinar and I believe sending out a link, but really excited and give it a shot. It's available today, and thanks again.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for joining us today.